Again.
Hey guys, welcome to the Hurting Little Cast to the Glory of God. I don't even know what time it is. It is Sunday, the 17th. July 17th, Sunday. It is like 8 o'clock at night. And it's been a long day, and I didn't do a daily yesterday. So, what did we do yesterday? We got up. Some people took showers who hadn't taken showers the day before. We went to a Touch a Truck event. Did we do a video yesterday? Did I talk about this Touch a Truck event? I don't think so.
I don't know you did.
Okay, so we went to this Touch a Truck event where they had some fire trucks, an ambulance, a tow truck. That's what that thing's called. The environmental protection. They just had some really cool trucks. The kids had fun talking to people. They got some fire hats. We got to see somebody that we haven't seen for 7.5 years, and meet his wife and their children. That was really fun, and hopefully we'll be connecting with them. I've got to write to her. Remind me, I got to write to all these people, okay? So, got to write to her, and so we had a good day there. Then we came home and had our lunch, or we had some lunch in the car, I guess, and then came home. We took a rest time, and then we went out last night. Oh, during the rest time, Naomi and Abigail mixed up a sourdough coffee cake, which we ate today. It came out really good. And I made up our meals for today because we try not to do a lot of work on Sunday that we don't have to do. So I did all that in the middle part there. And then we went out from 3 to 6 out in Rockland to do evangelism, handing out tracts. The blues festival was going on yesterday. So a bunch of different bands come to do blues, and it costs a whole bunch of money to get in unless you wait till after a certain time.
It's what, $35, $45 to get in?
$45 a ticket.
Yeah, something like that. But then at some point they suddenly go free, so I don't know. But anyway, it's really loud. We're not there protesting blues music. We're there because Rockland has drawn a crowd for us, and so we go. The girls got to see their favorite police officer, Troy.
Which actually, I think that if Troy's going to stand there on festival duty for so many hours listening to really loud blues music, they should bring in a country music festival for him. Because he likes country music.
So Troy does traffic enforcement stuff in Rockland normally, like he's walking the streets and parking stuff, but during the festival he stands near the gate and tells people you can't drive down here, and people say, but why? And he says, because you can't. That's
Yellow barricades.
That's his official police duties that day. But the
Amazing
girls,
how many times you have to actually tell people, no, that barricade means you can't come drive here.
oh,
And somebody came up to him and didn't like that Naomi and I were standing on opposite sides of the sidewalk passing out tracts and stuff. And so she came up to him and was like, are they allowed to be doing that, or is that legal? And he's like, there's 3 feet between us because we weren't blocking the passage because she thought we were obstructing the sidewalk. And he's like, nope, there's 3 feet. So he saved us from that one. What else did Troy do for that? Us. What?
So was the Border Patrol.
Oh, so here the Border Patrol agent was, I actually called him a Border Control agent yesterday. No, Border Patrol agent, Stuckenberg. So we talked to him. He's stationed here in Rockland. And just so you know, Border Patrol, the ocean, the harbor, has a lot of foreign boats. And so people kept going by him and saying, you're not near the border. And he is. There's an ocean right there. So that was part of it. We got to talk to him. And then Troy, he does a lot of the pedestrians, like stopping cars and stuff like that. And then we got to talk about his testimony, and he checks in on us to make sure we're okay. He did that last year. We didn't have to have him check in on us this year because we were doing okay.
Sometimes if there's a creepy guy
if
around.
somebody's like seeming argumentative, he'll come up and ask about that. And then Daddy's across the street. And then what was the other thing? Oh, so he heard somebody thinking we were a cult. And he also had to tell somebody that Mommy and Daddy weren't committing child abuse by having the kids out at a public park in the city.
They don't get to go.
Next to the blues festival where people were taking their children. So I'm not sure why that was child abuse. And then he had to also stand up for the other they would not be offended by this. The KJV only street preachers who were out earlier in the day. They're proud of that fact, so that's not offensive to them. So he had to defend them from somebody who was angry that they were out there preaching before the blues festival. So he just had to be on guard for all the Christians who were up that day to say, nope, they're within the law, they're fine, you can't stop them, you can't make them stop preaching, you can't make them stop passing out tracts. So that was good to have his encouragement throughout the day and defense to others that we were within the law.
So anyway, I might need
What's
you
the
to...
matter there, Bob?
He's mad. He's going to chew on the
They're
breastbone.
grumbling.
Okay. So anyway, we went out last night. How our street is set up that we do this on, there's a small park on the one side, and then across the street is where the festival entrance is. So we sat at the edge of the little park, and the kids were handing out tracts to people walking on our side of the street, and then the girls were across the street at the festival entrance, which was all legal, and that's where they're allowed to be and all of that stuff. It lets us keep an eye on the girls, but like we said, there's a police officer standing right near them that if there was trouble, he could deal with them. There's
Did I
not...
tell you about my public service that I performed?
Yesterday?
You know that where the sidewalk and the grass just disappears into the grate and it's like an 8-inch
yes.
drop? I put my sign over it.
Good job.
brilliant.
Nobody fell in.
That's awesome.
They should pay you to
People
put your sign
often
there.
fall into that or trip and fall. And that kind
We have had chances when we're out on the street to help people. Like the one time we were out on the street and someone's car died in the intersection and all the men got to run over and push the car out of the way.
Or that
Last
time-
year.
Yeah, the blues festival, there was a boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, people, and the lady was being really aggressive towards the guy, and so some of the guys got to walk down just to make sure that they were safe and call in to the police and just make sure everybody was safe before. So that was during Blues Fest last year.
It was definitely the wife who was aggressive there, not the man. The man was doing good, keeping his hands off, showing I'm not doing anything to her. We also have before, I don't remember if it was in Rockland or somewhere else, but we have helped wheelchairs across streets when places do not have good wheelchair access and have big divots coming off the sidewalk. Sometimes wheelchairs get stuck there, and we've been able to help
flip
wheelchairs.
somebody out of a wheelchair.
Yeah, we've been able to help wheelchairs because Mark's strong, and sometimes like a smaller woman will bring, you know, her mother to an event like this or whatever and doesn't have the ability to get her out of a rut or something. So we've been able to help
aren't used to
in those
handling
situations.
chairs,
Towns really should be more handicap accessible. We have multiple people in our family that sometimes need a wheelchair, and there are lots of places that are not handicap accessible that are supposed to be. We actually got in trouble one time for blocking handicap access in a town here in, well, it was Wiscasset, I'll just say it, a town here in Maine. But their handicap accessibility there, I wasn't blocking anything because I was standing next to my car, which was parked in the handicap accessible spot because we have a handicap tag. But their handicap accessible sidewalk, where like the ramp that you go up from the road onto the sidewalk there, had a fire hydrant in the middle of it, and then a trash can right here.
A
So
big
you
trash
could
can.
not.
They could have moved the trash can.
Yeah,
The fire hydrant is where it is.
You
know?
could not have passed a wheelchair through the space using the ramp
Or the
getting
wheelchair
there.
ramp, yeah.
So they were not in code
So
with
did you
ADA
notice
stuff.
they recently rebuilt the entire downtown? of
Yeah, we
Wiscasset?
complained about it. After they yelled at us for me blocking the wheelchair access by having more than 3 people trying to block access to something. I was standing next to my own car with 2 children in a stroller, taking up as small of the space of sidewalk
standing
as I
out of the
could.
intention.
I think you were pregnant at that time, so it was 4.
I think that was
True.
probably after or the same day as we had helped the lady who wanted the handicap spot get into the handicap spot.
Yeah.
Because we're just that
Mean,
law-breaking criminal type.
hateful.
Oh, that was another time though that Mark got a police officer to come up to him to yell at him for parking in the handicap spot, which I was sitting in the driver's seat. I had parked there. It's my handicap tag. And the police officer came up and said, "We're here because your car's parked illegally in the handicap spot."
Right.
And Mark's like, "The one with the placard right there that my wife's sitting in the driver's seat?" And he was like, "Yeah, someone called on you." There was a guy in Wiscasset that didn't like us, and anytime he saw us pull into downtown and like there were a couple parking spots there near his apartment, he suddenly started walking up and down the stairs of his apartment a lot, talking to the store owners next to there that didn't like us either, and the cops showed up. We never actually did anything to, like, we never stood
I never
in front of their
preached, I never stood
businesses.
in front of business,
That was-
I never said
And
anything
then
to
there were those
anybody.
people who walked up behind the car and used their finger to write in the dust, "Are you vegan?"
Oh, yes.
And we're not sure what that had to do with
Because
anything.
I think we had a sign that day, may the lamb that was slain receive the full reward of his suffering, or something like that. So they asked if we were vegan. And I think, I was gonna say, I think you preached that one day in Wiscasset, and the chief of police came out, and I had written to the chief of police ahead of time to ask about any relevant ordinances or anything. So when I saw him, I'm like, oh, Chief Lang, and started talking to him. Oh, sorry, I said his name. So I started talking to him.
Don't worry, nobody watches our video.
And later, when we're discussing like legal things with him, he's like, I didn't know that I was talking to a 14-year-old. We're like, your laws change based on what age the person is that's writing you the email.
Because all you did was ask him what the law was. Like,
Right.
it wasn't like you guys were having a back and forth about what does this law mean, or like you just asked him about noise ordinances in the
What are
town.
then the
relevant
lady at
noise
Reds.
ordinances in this place? Yeah.
And then the lady at Reds, is that what you were laughing about?
No, you
Okay,
talk
so,
about lady
so
at
the
Reds.
lady at Reds, Daddy
Like, you
was...
gotta explain Reds.
Okay,
No.
so Reds
Reds
seats-
is a place with $40 lobster rolls.
They might be only 38. Okay, so they have really expensive lobster rolls, and there's this huge line of people that sit there to get lobster rolls at Red's Eats, which I've never eaten.
But people say they're not very good. It's only the tourists that come and get them because they see the lobster
Yeah,
rolls.
so don't go to Red's Eats. Don't block the road. And if you're standing at Red's Eats and somebody is across the street with a gospel sign, you probably shouldn't tell them, my dogs are scared by your sign. From across the road.
It was in black and white.
It was so weird. She's like, my dogs don't like your sign and they're scared by it.
Can your
Or
dogs
it's
read?
like, what?
Maybe the dogs can read.
So no, what I was laughing about was the people who came and wrote on the vehicle. They wrote with their finger like in the dirt because we're a big family and it doesn't get washed very often. So they wrote in the dirt. I get out of my car and ask them to stop writing on it, and they continue writing on it. So we like called the police officers because we didn't know what they were going to do. Because like I was in the driver's seat when they're writing on the car. I get out and they continue writing on the car after I asked them to stop writing. I just wasn't sure what they were going to do. Oh,
You wanna go outside?
what I was laughing about though is the cop showed up to.
You go for a walk?
We're gonna go for a walk.
So the cop showed
We're
up
playing
to
in the
tell
grass.
them that they needed to stop writing on my car, and he somehow thought, like at the time, we had chalk markers,
Yeah.
and our whole car was done up with Bible verses and everything. And he came and thought that they had written Bible verses all over our car and was
He's like,
been
so they
offended
came
by it.
and
And so it was just kind of funny. I wasn't really bothered that they were writing in the dust on our car. Just their attitude.
And they wouldn't.
Yeah, their attitude towards us was, is this going to get crazy? Because we had our children with us and everything. So anyway. So how did I get to that? Oh, in Rockland.
no
We were
idea
in
what we're
Rockland
talking
doing
about.
stuff. We've done ministry other places. Oh, the other funny thing about Wiscasset is we took our friends, teenagers, out to Wiscasset with us one time, and the cops came up and talked to us. So that was just funny because we took the kids out and we were like, oh, we haven't had any problems here, because at that point we hadn't, and yeah, we had problems. Yeah, the police officer was not upset at us that day. He was just asking us what we were doing and asked us to kindly move along, but we were actually headed out when he came, so we did move along. Anyway, so we went out yesterday. We don't have any legal trouble in Rockland. After we'd been doing ministry for about 2 hours, the kids have been passing out tracts. We had had some really good... Yeah, the police here like
Come
us.
talk to us. They welcome us.
And if cookies get dropped off at the station without a name, they assume it's us, even though we don't really drop off cookies all that often, so it was really funny. So there we had some good conversations with people. There was a group of people here from Denver that we had a good conversation with. We had lots of people say thank you for being out here. Some people that told the kids that they didn't need our gospel tracts, but they knew who Jesus was. The one guy, I thought this one was cool. They tried to hand him a gospel tract, and he said, I don't need one of those. I have a Bible. And I was like, well, if you read your Bible, then that's a really good thing. What do you need? Do you need a snuggle? Come here. Okay, he needs a snuggle.
One guy said, oh, I don't want to take your tract because I don't want to destroy it. And I'm not sure what that was supposed to mean.
Some people say some pretty silly things when they're out there. Like, they don't really listen. And then, was it one of you guys? One of you, they said something? Oh, Virginia. Virginia tried to hand the lady a tract, and she was like, no. And Virginia's like, have a nice day, or something like that. And the person was like, what did you say? And Virginia's like,
Excuse me?
excuse me, what did you say? And Virginia's like, have a nice day? And she's like, no, I heard what you said. That's not what you said. And Virginia's like, did you hear the gospel of Jesus? Like, everything she said was fine, so it was kind of funny. So anyway, we went while we were doing ministry. We'd been like 2 hours into ministry. Hi, what do you need? Ow.
What?
She moved her leg and then it popped. So if you need some ice or some heat, go ahead and do that. Naomi can help if you need it. Okay, so after doing that for about 2 hours, we walked the kids over to get some Dairy Queen. So the Dairy Queen is just a block from where we were.
That's how twats and they doing.
We passed out
But we
tracks
passed
and
out
the
tracks
ice
and
cream.
ate ice cream.
See,
You're
that's
right.
what we did.
As we did.
You got it. Nailed it.
So
babe.
we went over to the Dairy Queen. The kids had gotten stopped by a police officer in Rockland for wearing their helmets when they rode their bikes. So we had gotten 4 ice cream tickets to get a kid's cone. And so then I bought 1 more, so the little kids all got an ice cream, and they were very excited about that. We got the certificates a couple months ago, but we kept them because Josiah had been on the diet, and now Josiah's officially off the diet. We didn't see any changes, so anyone who's asking, we didn't see any changes with diet, and as we've reintroduced things, we haven't seen any changes, but we wanted to do the full course of it. So he's now off it. It was a good time for us to go enjoy those ice cream treats. So the kids all got ice cream treats. But while we were out there, the girls had handed someone a tract, and the guy came back later and handed Naomi money and said, go get some cold drinks for everybody. So last night on our way home, we stopped at Walmart, got ice cream for those who hadn't gotten it,
Drinks.
and some drinks and some chips. So that was nice that he had done that. The kids had a nice little treat, right?
What's that fun?
So we got home late last night. By the time, it wasn't late, but it was probably 6:45. So by the time everyone had a snack and I got everyone in pajamas and everything, it ended up being a later night. Then this morning we got up, did our stuff to get ready for church. So the girls put together the rest of the coffee cake. It had to be finished, mixed up this morning. They put that in the oven. A couple of us took showers. Josiah got in half of his crawling. So Josiah crawls half a mile a day and creeps a quarter mile a day. So he did half of that before church. Getting everybody dressed, all the stuff that has to happen. And we have to leave the house by about 8:15. We left a few minutes late today. Got to church, had breakfast. That was wonderful. Got to talk to a new couple that's coming to our church that just recently moved to Maine that is coming over this week for lunch. We had some good chats. I got to talk to a couple ladies. One lady about Josiah's seizures and stuff, which are better. I'll explain that in a minute. And then I got to talk to another lady about Mark's issues because she didn't really know what Mark had. And so I tried to explain it. It's hard to explain. I kind of told her that it's kind of like fibromyalgia in you have a whole bunch of symptoms and it's not something else we can name, so we're just going to say it's this thing. Mm-hmm. Because dystonia looks very different for people in lots of different ways. So I was trying to explain it in that way because it definitely, not everyone's looks the same. Everyone deals with it differently. So it's not, I don't know, it's hard to explain. We had a good time at church. It was a message on 1 John 1 through 4. Sorry, it sounded like too many numbers.
I know.
So he was talking about, I missed part of it because I was taking kids to the bathroom and stuff, but he was talking about fellowship and how fellowship is having the same end goal in mind and that you're willing to die working together for this cause. And our fellowship is in Christ, and Christ is the one who did all the work. We're supposed to remain faithful to the end and fellowship together. Fellowship is not about food, even though we enjoy food. Somebody prayed today for thank you, God, for this day, for the food and church and the food. Right?
That would be Bob.
So we stayed after and chatted with people. Once we got home, we were very tired, and it was warm here today. I know for you guys it's probably not warm, but when we drove through Waldoboro, it said 89 on the thing. So that's really hot for us. We got a little kiddie wading pool. The kids played in the water for a little bit. Josiah finished the rest of his crawls, and Then we had, for lunch we just kind of had snacks. I haven't given you all the details, but.
Patmos.
What?
Patmos.
Yeah. Okay. For supper, we had chili that had a lot of vegetables in it. So I did mushrooms and spinach and peppers and onions and beans.
That was and
We had rolls
cheese.
and cheese. You're right. We had cheese on our chili and we had rolls on the side. Good. Thank you for helping me. So after we were done with that, we sang some songs, right? Listened to some music. We watched some African children's choirs dancing, right? Then we prayed, and in the middle of prayer, we heard a really loud screeching of brakes, is what it sounded like, but there was no bang at the end. Cars were all going by at regular speeds after that, so.
Twat and dark. It was very loud.
It was really loud. Yeah,
It was really loud. It was kind of scary, wasn't it? Yeah.
So we ran outside in the middle of her.
So we ran outside in the middle of prayer, tried to see if everyone was okay, but we couldn't find a car, so I guess everyone was okay. We came back in and finished our prayer, and then Virginia took you guys outside, right? What'd you do out in the front yard? Do you remember?
Yeah, not what?
No.
Saddle up your horses.
No, he said see a car and a truck, because that's what we did before. But then we finished prayer, and we went outside, and we remember saddle up your horses.
Yeah.
Did you guys dance?
Yeah.
Virginia set up the big speaker in the front yard, and they danced. They had a dance party, right? So then we got everyone tucked into bed, and here we are. So this is how our evenings go. You come in and snuggle, right? And then I send you back to bed, and he's playing with Mommy's breast pump. This is what we do. So, yeah, I guess that's it. Tomorrow we have a day. I don't know. We just have days coming up. And we'll have friends over this week. We have a couple different people coming over. And we just found out some friends are coming to visit Maine again. So if they want to stay here, they're welcome to come stay a night. And we're going to be leaving here on Thursday to go stay with a large family up in northern Maine. Maybe we'll do a video with them. I'll talk to her. We'll see. It'll be fun. She has a lot of wisdom to share. A lot of wisdom.
Kids.
And a lot of kids.
Okay,
you hold that.
Only
Have
like
fun.
14.
Okay. So, yeah, she has a lot of kids. So, it's fun. It's very fun being up there. So, we're going to go up and stay with them for like 4 or 5 days. It'll be good. So, anything else? I think that's it. Anything else? Do you need to tell them anything?
No.
You going to sing them a song? I told them to screech.
We're almost so. We're almost so. Breath top torn. Breath scissor. Breath saddle. We're so.
Do you have any other songs? Because you sing that one every time I ask for a song. What about praise?
Talk from moon. Breath in for. Praise. And then he does. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Praise him above ye.
Every homes.
Fathers.
And Holy Ghost. Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Good job. Can you say bye to our friends?
Bye.
See you guys next time on Herding Little Cows to the Glory of God.